guy walks over to Ayla and is going to cut her arm so it's filled with the wolf. There's a whole animation for him going over to cut it, and then it just whack. I don't know, it's like straight into the bowl. Anyway, when you drink the blood, you finally transform. Problem number 2, playing as a werewolf is not fun. Let me break down this gameplay for you real quick. You've got 2 attacks, one where you slash, and another where you slash big. Sometimes the ragdolls move around. That's cool. You got a fast run. That's kind of cool. Your stats go up a little bit. That's nice too. And also, get this. You can yell really loud, and it'll sometimes scare off low-level creatures. Probably not most things. Probably most things you can find. And at a base level, that's it. That is all you can do. And before the Dawn Guard DLC came out, that was it entirely. That was all there was. But with that DLC came the addition of a werewolf skill tree, which helps them. I think even Bethesda realized that the werewolf gameplay was so half-baked that they needed to add like at least something. So this was their way of helping. Now you can upgrade the amount of damage you do, summon 2 wolves, gain 100 more points to health and stamina. That's big. Check me out. Summon 2 wolves, but they're different wolves, and you can increase the power of your big roll. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's kind of cool in a vacuum, but when you consider that this is taking place in Skyrim, the game where you basically play as God, that you can be a grand wizard combat master that eats the souls of dragons and wears their scales as armor, switching between spells in any school of magic, multiple different kinds of melee and ranged weapons, using shouts you stole from dragon souls. Why in the world would you want to play as a wet puppy? It's like Jesus coming down from heaven, but instead of being a dude who's super shredded, he's like a tiny little bull terrier, and he can't do much. Like seriously, at higher levels, becoming a werewolf kind of just makes you weaker. The transformation into a werewolf doesn't happen during a full moon. It's just a power that you can use once per day, and it'd be more. And here's a quick question to chew on. Where does my stuff go when I turn into a werewolf? No, because you see how when I transform, my armor like shifts and extends out in a weird, stupid way to fit the werewolf mold, and then it just disappears. Where is that going, bro? All my stuff is still in my inventory when I turn back, so like, where did you go for the duration? Stop fighting! They're gonna see you, people are gonna know. It surely didn't go into your inventory, because when you're a werewolf, you don't have one. Also meaning, you can't pick anything up. That has got to be the most infuriating thing about shifting into them. If you want to lose absolutely anything, you'll have to wait until you shift back, because there's no button automatically shift back. You just kind of have to wait. Okay, this is kind of a skill issue. I did realize way too late you can just use the wait feature in Skyrim to get out of wolf form. I just kind of stood around. Oh, it's a wolf attack! This video is sponsored by Holster. If you watched it for a while, you probably know what that is. It's a company that makes watches and jewelry for both men and women. Other products are responsibly made, reliably crafted. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but the first time I got sponsored by Holster, it wasn't them reaching out to me. I had gotten one of their watches as a gift and loved it so much, I asked my manager to reach out to them, hoping they would sponsor. Thankfully, this channel only when I had less than half the subscribers I do now. He said it once, he said it 100 times. Any of Holster's products would make a great gift for either you or someone that you love. They offer free worldwide shipping from Vienna, and if you're in the US, there are no custom fees to worry about. Their orders typically show up within 5 to 9 business days. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift, there is time. You gotta be quick. I can try to hard sell you on these products, but honestly, they already sell themselves. Just go to holster.com/Bisley, take a look around, and promise you will find something that stands out. Use my link in the description and code Bisley at holster.com/Bisley to get that 15% off this. And just make sure you use the code. That's the only way they know that I sent it. I promise you, whoever you find something for will love it for years to come. Thank you, Holster, for sponsoring. Sorry I didn't sponsor a local outfit. This isn't the normal. Questline does continue on, and for the most part, you just have to go around killing the Silver Hand, which is that group of werewolf hunters I was talking about earlier. This is actually the majority of the questline. Honestly, the most fun I had with the Silver Hand is not exactly the most formidable faction. You can just kind of go on and questions and until they die. You know, after writing that, I realized something very crucial about the story of the companions is that these guys with Silver Hand, totally the good guys, totally like the people in the right in this story, 100% companions are bad guys. Like there's no way around it. And it's weird because everyone around you treats the companions like this crazy faction. There was even a guard in the city. Stop me offended for joining. You know, what a nice guy. It is a shame that the first time I turned, I probably killed him and ate his heart. Oh, and did I mention that you can eat people's hearts? Not only can you, but that's like a major function of the werewolves. Eating people's hearts makes you stay in peace for longer. Eating the hearts increases your health, and eating the hearts is how you gain skill points in the werewolf skill tree. That's the only way to do it. So major incentives here for eating people's hearts. You just you're for sure the bad guys. Everybody in the comments of the last video was telling me that her thinks she's touch starved. She's not touch starved. She just does this when I want to read it. She never does it anywhere else. People right now? People? I read online something about the Silver Hand originally being a part of the companions, but they split off from the faction when all the werewolves fell. They just didn't want any part. And so now they've made it their mission to hunt. I think they probably made the right call. These guys probably need to be hunted. I wish you could join them. I feel like that would be really more fun. But you can't. You can eat hearts though. You can definitely eat hearts. It's kind of half on the problem one. Let me just add on to that a little bit. Given like problem 1.5 for sure makes you evil, even though the world around you does not acknowledge how evil this is. Stick that red light on. At the end of the quest line, and yeah, it's pretty much over. That was all. But you start to get into the origins of how all of this came to be. So basically, the companions were a normal group of mercenaries who decided to seek out a group of witches and make a pact with them in exchange for power. I'm not sure exactly what the witches got out of it, but the companions became werewolves. Only it wasn't a blessing, it was a curse. Not because being a beast has any downsides whatsoever. It's kind of just all upside. But because if you take the wolf's blood, when you die, you will be sent to hunting hell, super evil hunting hell, where you have to hunt forever. Some people put it down. That's the simplest way of putting it. But it basically has to do with a danger lord named Pearson who will claim your soul after death. The companion's leader, Codlack, tells you all of this because he wants to undo the curse. He doesn't want to die in an evil hunting hell forever. Honestly, unfair. He wants to go to Viking heaven. He thinks the only way to get there is to undo the curse like Viking, which is gave power, which is actually spirits. Oh, and also cut off their heads. That's part of it. So the next quest, running up the witch's house and cutting all their heads off. They throw fireballs at you. So fast. It's fast. It was a like 1-2-3 combo and it's like funny every time. Now I get that witches are normally considered evil. That makes sense. Calling them witches makes it justified. Whatever, you cut off their heads. But just look at all the facts here. Like really lay them out. This group, companions, went to these witches, asked for power. Witches just gave them great off and everyone was happy. Now, a bunch of years later, there's a leader in the companions and he doesn't want to do this. So we show up to them and instead of asking, hey, can we undo this? Instead of saying literally anything, cut their heads off. And not only that, but he sends a guy, the player, he's only known for like a day to go cut their heads off. Just saying, that sounds mega evil still. If we're moving in the right direction, we're trying not to be werewolves anymore, those are evil shit. Anytime evil, cut their heads though. I took them. Also, this whole origin, this is just how the companions themselves became werewolves. It's actually interesting. There are werewolves you can find in the wild that are not descendants of the companions. It seems for them that it was more of a virus they contracted and turned them into feral. A lot more similar to the traditional lore of werewolves, which kind of brings me to problem number 3. Well, number 3 is the last one. Hooray. The werewolves in Skyrim are not werewolves. Not really, anyway. I mean, yes, they kind of are, but less in a folklore way and more in a Twilight movie kind of way. Take a look at this concept art that we drawn. They look so much more humanoid than they actually ended up. They already gave a lot of building off of the existing lore for werewolves. So they weren't going to follow a lot of that. Why not just make it something their own and make them these more humanoid creatures? Still give me access to all my spells, my weapons and stuff, so that from a gameplay perspective, it's not stupid. They could have done it their own way, where the curse makes you like slightly stronger, slightly faster, but also makes you look like that, which would really only impact you in social. And now these other concept art that was drawn up where this man running through the streets chasing his cat, not knowing that on the roof, prowling behind him, find a group of werebears. It's kind of cool. I actually like it, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense. I think both of those things can be true. Are there any really hardcore Elder Scrolls lore fans out there who can tell me what is the lore behind this other than that, like, they're predators and fighting over hunting grounds? Technically, they would all be under the purview of Gearson, the Nectar Lord, which would kind of put them on the same side. Why are they fighting? Don't take it seriously like this is a fight. I saw someone say that online. I don't like that. Find out. I understand that this legend of werewolves has been twisted and recounted thousands of different ways. It's not fair to say that this game's depiction of werewolves is not accurate. But I think it is fair for me to say that it's stupid how this legend has been twisted and told thousands of different ways. Even all of that material grabbed from it. This is how it ended up. There's so many ideas to pull from, like fourth transformation when there's a full moon. That would have been awesome to play out. Maybe there could have been a chance that when you turn, you could lose control and you could like black out and wake up 24 hours later having done a bunch of stuff and you have to go and figure out what it is you did. Kind of like a random encounter. Or maybe there just wasn't even enough time to flesh all of this out. I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know. All I can say for sure is that when I'm playing through this quest line, it's not it's not it feels ultimately happening. It just feels like they shoehorned this folklore in without a lot of thought. And that third final problem. But I want to talk to you about one thing I like. When you return with the 17 you find that the leader of the commitment's Codback, that everyone around you is serious. And you just go home and just tear through the silverhead. They're dead. So it's not an Android so long. I know it's like Zero-sum turn. The hottest voice in all of time. Now we see on the one. This is the somber moment where all of the characters who led the course of this quest line and some others are just gathered around the island. Some of them stepping forward to share their all of the Jarl, ruler of the city, has come here to honor. One thing I like about Skyrim is that the characters that I actually grew fond of, like characters that aren't getting revenge for Codback's death.
Help Nerevar. They're treating me like an Argonian.
First, get short campaign. Ask every character why they feel. Each of them will give you a couple times.
Bing bong.
And all the that one man. So intrigued with joining this incredible band of war. I want to get these ones since I was a little girl. Some want to get across the hill she's fortune and glory. For the very light of quest. You can go and find Codback's spirit in the evil dungeon where you can bring it using the severed witch heads from evil hunting hell, whatever. And you do that by feeding his own spirit. I think it's crazy. It is actually kind of cool. And afterwards, you can even go on to help some of the other companions rid themselves of this world. This is how a warrior should feel. Alive and aware, not clouded with thoughts of the mind. Oh, and also right before Codback goes to Super Nord Heaven, he deems you worthy of leading companions. Now you're the leader. You've been here for like 3 days. You clearly know what's going on. You're kind of the guy. I don't know. I've only known you for 3 days, but I like to go to you too. He's the key to my house, my $40. I don't know why he does this. He put it under problem one, whatever. I didn't like the question. I think that was obvious. And I didn't like how they included werewolves in this game. It's kind of disappointing. Really sad. I was kind of hyped for that. I thought this would be a really positive video. I don't normally like to be negative, but I stand by what I say. And also, it's like a little sliver within Skyrim, one of the greatest games ever. So, I don't know. I feel like it's there. It can still be lighthearted. We're in a full video. I think anyone take this super seriously right now. Full, man. It's kind of hard. But you know what? That's like a cheesy way. And I love that. Like cheesy movies. I watch cheesy movies all the time. It's like my favorite thing. I do wish they gave the wolves in Skyrim the love that they give vampires. Oh my god, the Dawnguard quest line is so fun. Let me know if you want to see me make a video about Skyrim's vampires. That one would be those episodes to Patreon, and we're gonna be posting behind the scenes stuff like that over there. So if you want to know how I make my videos, what all goes into it, hear from my editors, maybe go to the Patreon. I've got a link in the description. You can patreon.com/visit channel. And if for some reason you want your name to scroll along the side of the video at either end, then we'll put you in that over there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that giving your money to use of your fund is not going to pretend money. Like, that's the most important thing you can do with your money, but I promise you, whatever you can, if you look at everything, I will use it for cool stuff, like wolf or we really want to get stupid. I think that's the dream right now, is to have a space we can go to. Each one of the editors moving over here to my house where I live. So I'd love to just have a place where we can go that isn't my basement. Just like
Greetings, Inwa.
hello, people.
You can have anything but the mask and the Dwemer flesh.
Constantly, we could build a whole little thing. Yeah, I promise you, I'm use your money responsibly. I promise. I won't spend it all on wool hoodies. I might do it. But yeah, Patreon. Yeah, click the card right here. Go watch another one of my videos. It's currently 2 days after I uploaded my last video, which was the GTA serial killer video. Already over 2 views. Absolutely nuts. I was at like 554K subs when I uploaded that. I'm probably at 600K right now. Oh, it's 599,775. And it's going up so fast. We'll be there in like 10 minutes. That is by far my biggest video. Thank you so much for that. I'm mindful. I'm trying not to let it bother me. Keep doing stupid shit like this. But click the card right here. Thank you. Goodbye. One of the candidates running for mayor of Night City. In Cyberpunk 2077, there are 2 side quests you can do, and slowly, over the course of them, you'll uncover the fact that his entire mind is being manipulated. You can't go find who's doing it. You can't fix it for him. All you can do is decide whether or not you want to tell him that his entire life around him is a lie. Now, it seems like it would be a pretty straightforward decision. At least for me, I'd probably want to know. The Cyberpunk 2077 is like the least straightforward game ever. I mean, you spend the entire game hanging out with a guy who just nuked an entire city. Well, Furlong, chill. Yeah, I mean, like, he's chill. A lot of people did lose their lives. And like a metal arm, he plays guitar, so rarely in this world will you find clear instances of right and wrong. In this situation with Jefferson Morales, it's no different. The choice of whether or not to tell him the truth is actually pretty strongly debated, with some people saying it's a lose-lose situation, others digging into the small details of his life to determine what he might want, and even one of the quest directors for Cyberpunk 2077 going on his live stream here and saying that he thinks the best option is to lie and let him live in the false reality.
I'm really just thinking that we should simply let him believe it's a lie.
That decision sounds insane without context, but once you understand the situation and see just how deep the rabbit hole goes, it starts to make a little more sense. We first encountered Jefferson when his wife Elizabeth Morales calls us asking for some discreet help investigating a murder. He doesn't want to share too many details over the phone, so we find them both waiting in a car. They start off by explaining that the previous mayor of Night City, Lucius Rhymes, was found dead recently due to a cardio implant malfunction. Like a cyberpunk heart attack. While the case was closed by the Night City Police Department, they believe there's more to it, and it's being covered up. Mainly because Mayor Rhymes was attacked only days before.
But we're left wondering about the cyber psycho attack at City Hall a few days earlier.
The police say it's completely unrelated.
Now, where we come in is the Morales have a brain dance of the attack that they need us to analyze. Brain dance is basically a captured memory from someone who was there that we can go into and search for clues with this little device right here. So this is a memory from someone who was here the moment the attack took.
Doing a little investigation here, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, here. This guy next to Mayor Ryan. Mayor. If you listen in on the conversation, take a little bit of a dig. miles of corridors of stone that are incredibly difficult to reach. Within that labyrinth are places so remote they don't have names, geologic formations that are so large it almost seem impossible. I set out to find one of these remote places. It required multiple days of hiking in areas devoid of water and technical steps I cannot show here. I knew something incredible was waiting many miles on the inside. This is it. The following was filmed over the course of one of the most difficult, spectacular, strangest weeks of my entire life that ended a narrow escape from disaster. Look at the sun leaving the tops of the cliffs,
It's better not be out of windows.
and the moon tonight was just beautiful. There's millions of fossils of sea creatures. There's no water anywhere. There's not even any springs. First cactus sponge. Alright, we are moving through the geologic layers slowly. It's a crazy thought that we are now entering this canyon, and I will not be leaving this canyon for another 4 days. Still walking on big rock. I'm so tired. Just gotta make sure to flip the little headlamp battery so it will burn out on you. Okay, something about this cave is really different. It's an natural feature. Anthropologists would tell you that the period of human occupation of the Grand Canyon started some 13,000 years ago. The tribes themselves would tell you they have always been there from the very beginning. When you are down here, only one of these situations really feels right. The shape of that cave looks like a perfect dome. There's a little circle on the top. What in the world? There's just a black hole. Tunnels under the Grand Canyon. It's just big enough for a person to squeeze through. And yet, how is it keep going? Just got another hole in the wall. Okay. The other one. I think it finally stopped. It's not like the worst bloody nose I've had in a really long time. I really feel like I'm gonna drive out here. A pebble flew upwards from the side of the road and landed on the top of the camper. Okay. single sound. Here's my fuel canister. Here's my coffee cup. This is so satisfying. It's the point of no return. Once I entered into this slot canyon, I have to be out of here before any strong rain. To get to this point, I had hiked almost 2 days where no water source exists, and yet every single thing you have seen is the result of water. This is another
What could
great
you possibly
paradox
want?
of
Do
time.
you have any Skittles?
So you see how there's 2 different layers? This layer is more dense. This one is more porous. So the water trickles down, hits this more dense layer, and then opens up a cavity to start flowing out of the side of the cliff. There's 2 different types of water here. The indigenous describe them as native and foreign waters. Absolutely wrong. The Colorado and the floods that carved the canyon I'm standing in are foreign
all?
waters. They came from far away and passed through without staying.
There's any like flooding, a place like this would come impassable. You can tell because there's nothing growing, or even any large rocks. It's because the water force is so powerful and concentrated here. Like, oh,
The native waters are those precious waters that exist and slowly emerge from the bedrock of the canyon itself. It was there for millions of years, and the deeper in you go, the more of it you will find. This is groundwater, completely pure. It is, and always has been, incredibly valuable.
it's like, there's not got much down right here. Or, so that is our moss that used to be alive. You can see the spring is still running right here. This used to all be hanging garden. That's bone dry.
I've never seen such a compelling proof of a spring that dried up.
All that brown stuff underneath it, that's like the dead moss.
Now imagine if you were living in this canyon and you depended on a spring for your survival. Your entire life was focused around one source of water. Then imagine one day it dries up. What would you do? It just goes to show you how much stuff changed around here.
Yeah, it's a huge chop stuff. The boulder fell down, came up on the cliff, and wedged to that narrow section.
I just did a video on the floods of eastern Washington, and there's something very similar that happens in a canyon like this, just on a much smaller scale. Every once in a while, maybe a couple times a year, maybe once every couple of years, these little communities of life that live in these little pools will be hit by a massive wall of mud during a flash flood, and all the life in these little spring-fed pockets will be wiped out, but it will come back, and the frogs and the fish and the insects and stuff will return. return to these little peaceful pockets of water. Clean your hand. Just that way. I brought my wetsuit with me because I think we're going to have to swim through some very narrow sections of this canyon. I don't know what to expect here.
I'm going to hang up my food bag so my mics get good.
Usually I'm doing this in a parking lot by the ocean somewhere, not at the bottom of the canyon. Even if you're swimming through water for a couple minutes in a canyon, it is extremely easy to get hypothermia. So frogs are a bioindicator species. If there's a lot of frogs, it's a pretty good sign that it's a healthy body of water. That is a big tarantula. I love how they move so slow.
I think we're going in.
This limestone is beautiful, but it's also very slippery. We're underneath a gigantic overhang, and there's all these droppings on the side of the limestone. So it's like raining down droppings from birds or bats that live in that overhang above us. I could be the first person to stand on top of it. In the whole history of the world, probably not, but there's a chance. Let me just go far up far on this rock real quick.
yes, meet the directionally challenged motherfucker, the Nerevarine.
We gotta get moving. The day is gonna run away from us. This is a huge alcove. See that there's a lot of charcoal here. The rock in here has a really strange texture, and I think that's because this is one of those extinct springs. You can see the rock is stained from where moisture used to seep down. These are tiny mineral deposits from when the water was flowing out of these holes. So springs were extremely sacred to the native people who lived in the Grand Canyon. Springs are the source of life in the desert. It's estimated that springs encompass less than 0.01% of the surface area of the entirety of the Grand Canyon. Yet within that 0.01%, there's 50 to 100 times more volume of species biodiversity. Many of those springs that we found might be hosting endemic species that have exclusively evolved in that one pocket of water, in that one location, and nowhere else in the world. But the springs are not a permanent thing. Different water movements and fluctuations underground can cause them to dry up or appear in new places. This whole area was lived in and traveled by the Native Americans of the Grand Canyon. I wonder if dead springs also had a significance to them, or maybe possibly could have indicated some sort of negative energy that they would try to avoid. I have no idea. You know, in a lot of other alcoves like this, you'll find potsherds, you know, flint flakes. There's nothing like that in here. I've been searching. All just dust. Many of the oral traditions of the tribes who called this place home describe cycles of creation and destruction. Wallapai, Havasupai, Southern Paiute, and especially the Pueblo cultures like the Hopi, tie their origins to the very bottom of the earth. The Hopis consider us to currently exist in the fourth age. The third age ended in a powerful flood, and humanity lost its way. The fourth world was reborn at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Another one. And a more harmonious fifth world will emerge only after the sunset of the civilization we live in now. It really makes me wonder if perhaps the groundwater is leaving this part of the canyon. It got me wondering, perhaps some of those beliefs were influenced by the cycles that we witness down here. Fresh, clean water is essential to all life. There's a new threat to our water out west. It's in the form of buildings as big as the canyon I'm standing in. These buildings require billions of gallons of chemically stable water to cool down their processors. So they have started harvesting it, and primarily from the most pure source, groundwater. The very reason for all the life you are seeing. In places where the water table is already dropping, these massive machines will suck the aquifers dry faster, using anywhere from 2 to 5 million gallons of crystal clear groundwater a day, stealing it from all living things to power the machine.
I've never seen more frogs before in my entire life. 30 of them jump in the water as I'm walking up here.
Research what I'm trying to tell you about. It's really important. In a world where even the water coming from the sky is increasingly contaminated, nothing could be more important than preserving this precious resource. Everything alive in the American West depends on it. Well, it's starting to get dark, and we're still walking over this type of river rock all day long is exhausting. You know, kind of make like old injuries flare up. You'll get these weird old pains you haven't felt in a while come back. This is no campsite. I found a single good campsite. There's a big old growth conduit. Alright. Almost good, but very sandy. First can't even describe how good it feels to be out of my wet clothes, out of my boots. Tomorrow we're going to a canyon that is so remote that it doesn't have a name. There's a crack along. Come in there. Adds a little texture to your backpack meal. Alright, good morning. Turn it on full setting. The craziest thing about the Grand Canyon is that as remarkable and spectacular as this canyon feels like a large accomplishment to even get here. There are thousands of places like this, if not more extreme and bigger, and even more remote in some cases. my back, and it felt like little tiny waves in a really calm ocean, just like little tiny waves kind of like pushing on you. And I thought I was just imagining at first. I kind of lost it. Now, I was sitting here for like 10 minutes, and I'm convinced I wasn't imagining it. Probably a millisecond longer than a second. You know, we're in these giant corridors of stone, connected to thousands of miles of other giant corridors of stone. You know, we could be picking up on the pulses of energy that travel and reverberate around the inside of the canyon. I don't know, I lost it. Wow, that was one of the crazy things I've had. Yeah, everything does have a resonance. It's theorized that maybe this might have been a branch of technology that ancient civilizations had built upon and developed upon that we have not. So that cliff above us is probably close to 3,000 feet above our heads. But that's not actually even the rim of Grand Canyon. That's just what would take you up to the layer known as the Esplanade. If you went another 1,000 to 2,000 feet above that point, then you'd reach the actual rim of the Grand Canyon, which means that we have descended from anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 feet into the bottom of the earth to get to where we are right now. Oh, this is a good one. Resonance, I'm telling you. Now all the frequencies messed up, look. Now it's an interference pattern. But it'll realign itself. Just like that, the pattern fixed itself again. Something said that the dot over here is the plug into the water. The sun is coming from up here, and the light reflection is bouncing off those rivers and sending it across the top of the rock. It's almost like a reproduction of sound wave.
constant interference pattern. I feel like we're living in one of these right now.
It'll fix itself soon.
Another water channel.
So the bottom of these canyons are constantly changing. What I'm walking through right now might be totally different from what it looked like a year ago or 2 years ago. Because intermixed with the periods of tranquility, there's these huge flash floods that come down. They could rearrange these entire boulders to the point where some canyons that you could hike up become no longer hikeable. I'm not lying when I say this canyon is unnamed. There are no trails, no footprints. I checked the USGS topo maps, kind of the definitive authority on landscape labels, and there's no name for this canyon. Not to say that people haven't been down here. It's so remote that nobody stopped to give it a name up to this point. I can't believe this. I have been figuring out ways how to get here for months. I have wanted to come here for so long. I can't believe I'm finally here and I'm about to see it. The walls are wonderfully smooth. So I brought some sage with me that I collected from up on the rim on our way in here, and we're gonna go make an offering at the spring. It really should be sage and tobacco, specifically wild tobacco.